A warm welcome to your session on the Theft Act 1968, Section 1, brought to you by Solucious Equinox for Police Learning. My name is Phil Church, and I shall be your narrator and guide for this session. Advertise your business or services within our learning videos. Targeted advertising to our learners. Please contact our team for prices at info@soluciousequinox.com. This presentation is brought to you by Solucious Equinox Training Solutions and our SETS channel for online learning, available on YouTube. Like and subscribe for more videos. So the agenda for this session. Well, after a quick introduction from me, the Theft Act will follow, and there'll be an explanation at the end as to how you can give feedback on this session. Our company background. Well, Solucious Equinox were founded in 2018 after my co-director Jason Hunt and I left the police earlier in 2018 after 22 years and 15 years service. And these are just some of the companies and partners that Jason and I have had the privilege of working with since then. And these are the police services that we work for. And whilst in the British Transport Police, we were recruit trainers for 5 years, training and teaching newly recruited police officers in law and procedures and training transferees. If you'd like to know more about us, please feel free to visit our company website, soluciousequinox.com. Have a moment to think about what your needs and expectations are of this Theft Act session. And at the end, have a think were your expectations met. And if you would like to learn more, please contact us at info@soluciousequinox.com. So the aim of this session is that you'll understand what Section 1, Subsection 1 of the Theft Act 1968 is. And the learning outcomes, at the end of this session, you will understand what dishonesty means and understand what appropriation means, to understand what constitutes property, understand what belonging to another constitutes, understand what intent means, understand what permanent deprivation means. Section 1, Subsection 1 of the Theft Act 1968. It's triable either way, which means it can be heard at the Magistrates or Crown Court depending on the severity of the offence. And if convicted, a person can face up to 7 years imprisonment and or a fine on indictment, and up to 6 months imprisonment and or a fine if dealt with summarily. It's a recordable offence, and a recordable offence is any offence in England and Wales where the police must keep records of convictions and offenders on the police national computer, and a recordable offence should not be confused with a notifiable offence. But the Theft Act is also a notifiable offence, and a notifiable offence is any offence under United Kingdom law where the police must inform the Home Office, who use the report to compile crime statistics. And the term notifiable offence is sometimes confused with recordable offence. Section 1, Subsection 1 of the Theft Act 1968. The definition. A person is guilty of theft if he dishonestly appropriates property belonging to another with the intention of permanently depriving the other of it. So a person is guilty of theft if he dishonestly appropriates property belonging to another with the intention of permanently depriving the other of it. Each of these key elements must be present to constitute the offence. Dishonestly appropriates property belonging to another, intention, permanently deprive. Think of these as the points to prove for your offence, and in the next sections I will explain what these are. Dishonesty. A person shall not be considered dishonest if that person honestly believes they have the right, according to the law, to deprive someone else of property for themselves or on behalf of a third party. Had the owner of the missing property known of the circumstances in which it was subsequently taken, they would have consented. Having found property, all reasonable steps were taken to locate the owner, and these are known as defences to theft. However, a person is still considered dishonest even if they are subsequently willing to pay for an item. So, an example of this, a person is detained by a security guard after placing an item inside their jacket. On being caught, the person offers to pay. There is no need for the person to even leave the store. So the questions here are, did the person act dishonestly? And did they intend to permanently deprive? If the answer to these are yes, then the offence is complete. Other examples of dishonesty. A person enters a store and intends to steal an item. The person selects an item from the display and places this in a bag. Changing their mind, the person decides to return the item to the shelf and leaves the store. The offence is complete. The offender stole at this point because he or she dishonestly appropriated property from the shelf. It was taken with dishonesty in mind, and it was belonging to another, in this case the store, with the intention, what they intended in their head, to permanently deprive, in other words, to steal. A person goes shopping at a store and on returning home discovers they have an item they did not pay for. After a few moments thought, the person decides that instead of returning the item to the store, they will keep it instead. Offence complete. The offender stole at this point because although the property had not been appropriated dishonestly, the person became dishonest at the point of realising it had not been paid for, and then deciding to keep it, permanently depriving the store. Appropriation. Appropriating means assuming the rights of the owner of property, and this includes where they came by the property innocently or not and without stealing it, if they later assume rights over the property by keeping it. Think about the previous example where a person decided to keep an item after shopping, or dealing with it as if they owned it. So an example would be discovering that you have not paid for an item at the shop, but then giving it away to another person. Some points to note. In the listed example, had the person not realised the item had not been paid for and gave it away, there was no dishonesty and therefore no theft. Swapping price labels in a store is sufficient for the offence. Once property has been stolen, it cannot be restolen by the same person. If a person gives their wallet to someone to take money and that person takes more than agreed, theft is still complete. Pause the presentation for 5 minutes and think of similar situations that you may encounter. Property. For the purpose of this offence, property that can be stolen consists of money, all other property, real or personal, things in action, cheques and electronic funds. It includes intangible property such as trademarks, and wild creatures which have been tamed, and wild creatures that are kept in captivity. It does not include mushrooms that grow wild on any land, flowers, fruit or foliage of any plant growing wild on any land. So think fruit, flowers, foliage and fungi, unless it has been picked for reward, onward sale or commercial purpose. So the key question is, when the person picked the wild fruit, did they at that time intend to sell it on? So if someone takes wild growing blackberries to make a pie for themselves, it's no theft. If that same person picks the wild growing blackberries to make a pie to sell at a bake sale, that's theft. That same person picks the blackberries to make a pie for themselves, then later decides to sell it or donate it at the bake sale. It's no theft. As I say, the key question is, when the person picked the wild fruit, did they at that time intend to sell it on? Belonging to another. Property belongs to another if they have possession of it. They have control over it. They have a proprietary right or interest in it. So, for example, you take a car to the garage for repairs. The garage now have a proprietary interest in this vehicle, and you decide to take your car without paying the bill. The offence is complete. If you have joint ownership of a racehorse and one part owner sells the animal without the consent of the second owner, the offence is complete. Permanently deprive. Permanent deprivation takes place when a person deprives another of it with the intention to treat it as their own, to dispose of it, regardless of the rights of the real owner, by burying it or destroying the property, retaining the property, eating or drinking or consuming the property, abandoning the property where it cannot be found, and keeping the property until it is useless. So for an example for that, a lottery ticket, keeping it knowing it is a winner and keeping it until the expiry date has passed when it can no longer be claimed for, or selling the property on. So remember, all the points of the offence must be present in order for it to be complete. Each of these key elements must be present to constitute the offence. Dishonestly appropriates, property, belonging to another, intention, permanently deprive. They are known as the points to prove. If you have all of these key elements, the offence is complete. Thank you for listening. We hope that this bite-sized law presentation was helpful to you. And for feedback, we're always interested to hear this, so why not leave us a message on our Sets channel, or you can contact us at info@soluciousequinox.com. Advertise your business or services within our learning videos. Targeted advertising to our learners. Please contact our team for prices at info@soluciousequinox.com.